Well, as promised, we talked about bringing back Try Knoxville, and we have done just that. And I got to say, first of all, thanks to Ray Bertrand for letting us use his conference room here for our makeshift studio here, as we call it, the Bertrand Monument Studios now. I got to talk about this a little bit because we have a couple of sponsors on board also this year. Design Metal Art, as you can see on the hat. We're going to talk about that tumbler we're going to be giving away just for sharing and liking us on Facebook. We'll talk more about that later. And also helping out some guys that are really close friends of mine. They're doing a gun show coming up here in October, so we're going to talk more about that later on. But before we get going, I got to introduce my guest because if I recall right, he was the last person that I spoke to on the last episode of Try Knoxville year and a half, 2 years ago, whenever it was. I can't remember how long it was now. But Mayor Brian Hatch back with us again. And first of all, thank you so much for taking time to come out here. I know a lot of people think, well, the mayor, that's all he does is the mayor. You have a full-time job. The mayor in Knoxville is a full-time job, but it's part-time pay.
Yeah, on the side.
On the side. So you also have been working for the county for a number of years. We talked about that in a previous episode. But we're going to talk about Knoxville. And when I called you up and I talked to you about this, the biggest thing I wanted to focus on was getting the word out, getting the information out. And everybody complains about, and it bothers me because you hear they're not transparent. It's real simple. Go to a meeting.
Yeah, yep.
Okay?
Exactly.
A lot of people go by hearsay or what they see on social media or what media like myself reports. I'm limited on room, so I can't tell the full story all the time. I can't speak on behalf of the newspaper. I can't speak on behalf of the radio station because they also honor other traditions of news that they're doing as well. So I'm sure they're limited on what they can do as well.
Yep.
Best way to do it is tune in or go to a council meeting to find out what's going on.
Yep, that's well said. Or reach out to one of us.
Yeah.
The city manager, myself, a council member. You can email, call City Hall, whatever you want to do. We're easy to get a hold of. We want to be easy to get a hold of. We want to be transparent. Happy to share that story. So if you have questions, something seems odd, you're questioning why is this, why aren't we doing this, give us a call. We'll talk through it and we'll explain it to you. You may not agree at that point, but at least you have the story and you know exactly what's going on.
And Brian's phone number is speed dial 1 on my phone, so
I'm sure it is. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
You're even above in case of emergency. I mean,
oh man, I don't feel so special now.
You and I talk, and we've had conversations since you've been mayor. Some bad, some good.
Yeah,
a lot of good ones lately. The housing thing, and that's where I want to jump back into because the last time we spoke, the housing thing, as we call it, hadn't started. The demolition process was starting at VA District.
Yeah. And
holy cow, you talk about the difference this has made just since we spoke last.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I can put into words how big of a deal this is for Knoxville. We talked about demolition. We were nervous. You know it's going to come down. Will it go back up?
Right.
And that's the tough part. And so we as the city knew that it was going to be hard to develop right away, to entice somebody to come in and say, hey, build out our whole entire neighborhood for us.
Right.
So we took it upon ourselves. We didn't really want to be that person, but we thought, let's make this happen. The first phase, let's be the developer. Let's put the lots in, get people to come in here, build houses, and show that it can work. Prove to people that this can happen.
Right.
And hopefully we start that fire and it takes off from there with the second and the third phase. So yeah, here we are in our first phase. We have 34 lots available out there in the first phase. I believe at this point, I think 19 of those lots are spoken for, which is unbelievable.
And houses are up on
houses are up on probably, I think even maybe 10 of them, I think.
Okay, yeah.
All but one is sold.
Okay.
And we have 2 more that Sage will be building for us, and 5 more that Origin will be building for us. So it's huge. And I'll tell you, I spent a lot of time up at night worrying about this, especially the timing of it. It just was the perfect, not perfect the timing. We go into this and demolition's over. We start talking about development, and we have COVID. We have increases in price. The materials go up, threefold. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Interest rates go up, and everybody's just holding tight. I'm thinking we're not going to sell a single house ever.
I was shocked. I got to be honest. I was completely shocked that they started selling right away. In fact, a local alumni, if you will. Tony Rosenman was the first one to build out there.
Yeah.
You know, he downsized, which was great for him. I mean, empty nester and so forth. But the bottom line is they are selling houses even at what were crazy interest rates. They're starting to come back down. I think I saw 5.5 the other day.
Yeah.
Still not as low as it was, but you know what? Here's my age for you, okay? Interest rates were above 10, above 11, above 12 when I was getting out of high school. All right, my first car was like 19% interest, not because of my credit rating. That's what it was.
Yeah, I know. I've heard people talk about that.
You know, so it sucks. Don't get me wrong, because it's a different generation, but progress is still happening. I was the same way when we talked about demolition. Okay, materials are going up.
Yeah,
interest rates are going up.
Yeah,
you know, economy scare, if you will, and the COVID thing. I mean, who in their right mind goes out and says, let's develop right after a pandemic?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
I know. But you know, we felt like we just had to go.
Sure.
We had the momentum. We didn't. The first and foremost, we wanted to again prove that we could do housing.
Right.
We needed housing, and we wanted to show people that it was an important thing and that we were serious about it. What we did not want is for the demolition to happen and an empty grass lot sit there for 4 or 5 years, and people lose faith in that. You know, they start to wonder, like, are they really ever going to do anything? And we just didn't want to have that. So we wanted to hit right away and say, here it is, let's make it work.
While you were doing this project, at the beginning of it, I think that it may have been after demolition was done or pretty close to being done, another developer comes to town, a big developer, Kading Properties.
Yeah.
They come in behind Walmart and put in 155 units. It's a welcomed development.
Yeah. Yes.
But almost, again, being the devil's advocate, if you will, in the town, listen to the streets. Oh, we don't need that much housing now. We got too much housing. We still don't have enough housing.
No, you know, and some people were worried about that right away when they heard about it. And fortunately for me, I wasn't worried about that side of it, only because I knew it's a different type. You know, it takes all kinds and all types. We're looking for owner occupied out there at the Veterans District. Kading wants rental units. They're going to own and they'll rent them out, which is great. We need rental units. And so I was thrilled when Kading came to us and said they wanted to put a development here in town. I couldn't jump. I was like, do you tomorrow? Like, let's go. Let's do this. They've been a great partner. You know, a funny story when you talk about the demand for that being there. We were at the groundbreaking, and so it really hadn't even started yet. We're just going to announce we're breaking ground. We're going to do this.
Colder than hell that day.
Yeah, cold, and they hadn't really done any marketing. Just the press between Knoxville and them saying we're going to make a development agreement. I asked one of the ladies there just off the cuff, said, "Hey, how's it going? Have you had a lot of excitement about it?" And she kind of looks at me, and I'm like, "Oh, did I say something wrong?" And she's, "Are you kidding me?" She's like, "My phone's been ringing off the hook." She's like, "I've got a waiting list already, and we haven't even told anybody we're doing this." And so it just shows you, the demand for it. Obviously, there's more demand, and they see it, and they hear it, they get the phone calls, they still have a waiting list. I hope it works out, that we can work with them again and increase that, because, again, we need more of those rental units. And so that was a wonderful thing for us, yeah.
The thing that's excited me after that one was built was when you drive through there and the out-of-county plates that you've seen.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was people moving into Knoxville. That was people that are working at Weiler, whatever they're doing. And that was big because our population, since my childhood, has dwindled.
Yeah.
And this is kind of bringing it back up a little bit. I think our last census, we weren't up a lot, but a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that helps out. Same thing back to the VA district with the housing. The method about this, or the method behind this, I should say, when we talked last, was it's going to help increase the amount of tax that we can collect without putting the burden on guys in the old houses like me.
Yeah.
To clarify this now, the state of Iowa, in their wisdom, has made the announcements of several years ago that we need to reassess our properties. So for the last 5-6 years, it seems like every year it's been going up on assessments.
Yep.
Just to clarify, that's not Mayor Hatch saying we need to collect more tax money. That came down from the top that we had to reassess.
Yeah, that's not a city decision. That's not a county-wide decision.
Right.
That formula that the assessor's office at the county has to have in place is put in place by the state.
Right.
And so the state says, here's the formula you follow. You set your rates according to this. And even within that, you have 5% leeway, I believe.
Sure.
Within 5% plus or minus of the market rate. So you really don't have a lot of options there either.
No.
And we had that. Our assessor trying to do the right thing, knowing that those values are going up, up, and up, tried to keep them as close to that 5% below as she could, trying to help people out. I think one or two of the assessments changed. It was that close. It took us over the 5% below. And so we had a readjustment, which means you got to go to 100%. The state sets that. So, we didn't have a choice.
Right.
And so it's hard. I understand it. I'm paying it too. And my house went up. Everybody's goes up. I know it's terrible. It is what it is. We can't help that. We have tried to talk to representatives, up at the state house to say, hey, what can we do? Can we look at the formula? Is there a different way that we can look at this? I hope they can see the impact that it's having on people, because it is significant.
Sure.
It's a big deal. And I know I tell people that, and again, on the other side of that what driving that is market value, and so what people are paying. We don't see it as much right now, but a couple years ago when interest rates were so low, people could pay more.
Right.
They could pay above market value. They would get into a bidding war and say, well, I can still afford this. And so they may pay $50,000, $100,000 more. Well, all of a sudden that just jacks up the market value of that house that much.
Sure.
And everything else has to follow behind. And so
that evaluation is also based on the neighborhood. So if the market value of my neighbor's house goes up, and then the next time reassessment comes around, this one sold for $200,000, so now yours is $200,000.
yeah, they're going to look at those. Yeah, they look at that as a whole,
Right.
of every house that's sold and all those values. And so it has to go up or down as a whole. There's that, it's just not, you can't just single out a house or not. She has to look at it, he or she, whoever the assessor is,
Right.
has to look at that as a Marion County as a whole. And so it's a tough position for them to be in and highly regulated, yeah.
We got to pay some bills real quick. We want to talk about a gun show coming up here at October the 11th through the 13th. Again, it starts on Friday night from 4 to 8, and then also goes 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, and then again on Sunday, 9 to 3. The cool thing about this, it's $8 admission. They give you a wristband, and it's good for all weekend. So as long as you have that wristband on, you come in on Friday, you can come back on Saturday, you can come back on Sunday, and you don't have to spend any morning money to get there. They're buying, they're selling, they're trading. They will do a background check on site for you as well. They're going to have some prizes and some drawings. So keep an eye on that flyer. You can check that out in Knoxville today. I have that running all the time. Also the Marion County Messenger and Marion County Express. And also you'll be hearing some ads coming on with KNIA Radio. So watch out for those guys as they come back. As we come back to Brian Hatch, the mayor of Knoxville. God, how many years have you been doing this now?
I think this is year 11.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so.
I think I asked you about 5 years ago. Are you almost done?
Yeah.
You want to see VA district happen?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. It's not done yet. It's getting there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm going to live long enough for the whole thing to be done.
I'm not either.
All right. But let's open up Pandora's box. I'm going to be a little bit devil's advocate here on you because again, we want to show the people that we're not hiding anything. You're going to be transparent about this. A long time ago, it came out that school is looking at property out there. That wheel got to rolling a little bit, then it stalled, then it rolled, then it stalled. At the same time, the middle school was knocked down. Everybody was, oh my gosh, I get it. Hey, I love history in Knoxville.
Yeah. Yep, me too.
I've done a show on it with Jeff McLaren before on the history of Masons in Knoxville. It's a big deal. I get it. Okay. I explained this to a generation above me, who I won't mention any names, Mom. That
Well done.
Well, it is this way. When she went through school system, she had a newer elementary school when she went through.
Mm-hmm.
When she went through high school, same thing. It wasn't that old. It was
Yeah.
like 5, 6 years old when she graduated. All right. Our kids and grandkids should have that same opportunity to have modern schools. So that's why I believed in the middle school project when it happened.
Yeah.
I graduated at the old middle school. It was a high school when it got torn down, or when I went through. When it tore down, did it bother me? Yeah, it's an empty lot. But the future of that lot is pretty cool right now because public safety building's coming. Now, we're going to talk about this next week with Heather Ustry. I want to talk to you about why, I don't want to say the delay because I know the process, but the school land and the city land in the public side ran into a big slowdown of Is it happening? Is it not? Are they covering up now because we found out about it? I mean, you ought to hear the stuff we hear on the streets.
Yep. Yeah, I know. It's crazy how fast that stuff spreads. And I guess I
I
will.
said future home of Long John Silver's. Nobody bought into it. So.
I've heard that a lot.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like Long John Silver's too.
Yeah.
And if they're listening,
Yeah.
feel free to
I'm
contact
going to
me.
send a bill for that too. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
When you talk about being transparent, I'll try to take us back a little bit.
Right.
Into that 2019 timeframe when we were talking with the federal government about acquiring the VA. So you're talking about, can we actually do this? Can we get it? How's
Sure.
this going to work? And then on the side, it's like, okay, once we do get it, what the heck are we going to do with it now? And so one of the conversations early on came from us, and said, hey, should we think about other partners in the community?
Right.
And the school district being one, knowing that they're limited on space. So our initial thought, very first thought about that was when we brought the school into that conversation was simply just as space.
Mm-hmm.
Is it play fields? Is it, whatever that is, because we knew we were limited. And so it's like, there's never a better time. We have 150 acres out there to work with.
Mm-hmm.
There's never a better time for the community to carve out a piece of school property that's not going to cost the taxpayers money to purchase later on. At this point, it's like, why don't we just block that off? If the school wants it, great. If they don't want it, fine. It can be
Sure.
developed at some point. What I didn't want to happen was development continue to go well 15, 20 years down the road. The school then comes to the community saying, we've got to buy ground. We need a school, we need new fields, whatever that is. And we're sitting there looking at millions of dollars to buy all these acres going, oh, what were we thinking?
Right.
We were just sitting on it. We had 150 of them. Why didn't we do something? And so,
Which has happened in this town before, where businesses and or governments have not bought enough land.
yeah, absolutely. And so that's really, honestly, where it came from, was that conversation. And then we brought the school in, and they started to say, yeah, we would be interested. And then there's the potential of, well, could it be a school, a school facility?
Right.
And then that just, it took off from there, saying, well, North Star's, they're going to tear North Star down, they're going to build out there. And I don't know what the school will do.
Yeah, they haven't put that task force together.
Yeah,
yet, so.
but is that available? Absolutely. We worked with the county. The county's been a great partner in that,
Right.
and allowing us to say, yeah, let's think about the future. Because the schools are important. They're important to our community. They're important to development. You want your kids to be around those areas and close to them. So yeah, it's a big deal. I'm super thankful that we had the opportunity to work with the school and the county to try to make that happen. Yeah, it has taken a while. And some of those things that's how the process works.
Rome was not built in a day, is the old saying.
Yeah, and people don't sometimes understand. It just, the wheels turn kind of slowly. By the time you start to talk about having somebody come out there and do surveys on it and split it off and parcel it, and then legally getting a legal description for it and getting that recorded and doing all those things, it takes time and then you're working with other developers. We have the Quick Star going
Right.
on the corner, so it's the timing of that of you're working with a private owner and a Quick Star developer and the school district and the county and the city. There are a lot of hands in that pot, and so just trying to come together and make it all happen, it takes time.
Isn't it true also, private business, private owner can get things done just a little bit faster than government? And it's not the old government red tape. You guys have different laws, if you will, that you have to go by when it comes to purchasing or selling land.
Yep.
And building buildings.
Yep, absolutely, and it's not a bad thing.
Right.
They're there for a reason. And you talked about it earlier. It's transparency. They want people to be aware
Right.
of what we are doing. So
you have to have a public hearing if you're doing land
yes,
stuff.
and we should not have the ability to say on the side, we're going to purchase this ground, and nobody has any knowledge of it or any say in it. So that's why those rules are in place for us to say to the public, listen, we're having a hearing saying that we're thinking about purchasing this or we're thinking about doing this. Now is your time to come. This is a public hearing. You can comment. You can let us know your thoughts.
Sure.
So you're aware of it. We're aware of it. And we know where everybody stands on it.
Let's go down the public hearing road, because again, it goes back to our original conversation. If you want to know, show up to the meetings.
Yeah.
A public hearing is posted. I can't remember what the timeline is now, but there's a timeline for it. All right. It's posted in the newspapers. It's talked about on the website.
Yep.
It is not hidden. It is not a secret. It's a public hearing.
Yep.
If you had to bet, and I know what the answer is, but I'm going to put you on the spot. If you had to bet on your last 5 public hearings, how many people showed up for it?
I would say less than 5. For,
Yeah.
yeah, no, not very many. Yeah.
And more than likely, the people that showed up for it were the players. If you will.
Somebody
The
who
ones
was,
that were involved.
Yep, somebody involved in the process. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know of a better way because you're hitting all the media. Okay, and I don't know how to flame that out, and it's going to be a flame forever. It's just the way the public sees things. Some people like to sit back and complain and not do nothing about it. Some people like to sit back and complain and don't know what to do because they've never been involved.
Yep.
I'm going down this road because you guys just appointed Jim Butler into P&Z. That is not a paid position.
Right.
That is a volunteer position. It is appointed by yourself.
Yep.
With that being said, there's still open spots, not just P&Z, Board of Adjustments, everything. If people want to get involved, what's the best way of doing it? And I got to be careful here. Don't have an axe to grind
Yeah.
to get involved.
Yep.
Get involved to help the community. If you want to help the community, what's the process?
Again, just get a hold of us. Call City Hall. Tell them you're interested. We have applications you can fill out for different boards. We have all kinds of commissions and boards, depending on how in-depth you want to be or how involved you want to be. And there's term limits on all those, so it's constantly revolving. You know, every 2 to 4 years, there's people going on and coming off, and so it's always turning, which is good. We get more people involved, and I think the experience has always been good for people. You know, for the most part, people get in there and they kind of get a better view of what's happening. They understand things a little better, and I think they start to enjoy it a little bit. You know, and they have that better understanding of just how the process works and why we are doing things. And so I would encourage you, like you said, get involved. Give me a call, emails, call the City Hall, however it is.
Speed dial 1.
Yeah. Yep. Just let us know. You know, I hope I'm not hard to get a hold of. You know, I hope that if it's not through email or if it's not calling City Hall, you can get a hold of me pretty quick and pretty easy, and I'll respond to you. You know, and yeah, we need all the help we can get. So if there's an open position, yeah, we're going to look at it. It's appointed. I guess council has the final approval. I'll make the suggestion to council. You know, I bring that forward and say I recommend this person for this position, and then council ultimately votes yes or no on it. So
Let's get back to VA district because we're almost out of time here. You mentioned phase 1, 34. We think it's at 19 now that are sold.
I believe so.
Possibly more. I mean, right now we could have sold more while we were on the air. Who knows?
Yeah, right. I hope so.
There's also a development getting ready to happen on where I call it the doctor's quarters, the south side of Pleasant Street.
Yeah.
And fill me in on that because I missed that meeting. That is going to be senior housing apartments.
Yeah. So there's 2 projects,
Okay.
and hopefully I won't get this messed up because it's so hard to keep track of all these different things. But yeah, so 2 separate projects going on. There's roughly 6 acres of ground in that area on what we call Block A, the south side,
Right.
the doctor's quarters.
Yeah.
We split it in half, basically, 3 acres for each developer. One of those, which I believe right now that the one they're currently working on is just market rate townhouses.
Okay.
That will be for anyone.
Okay.
And the second one that they're currently they're working on that right now, and I think they're waiting on the state to say if they received a tax credit or not. I believe on their side of it. That one is senior housing, which we desperately need again, and so that would be a huge help. Similar to again, I get out of my expertise pretty quick when you get into the details of it, but I think it's similar to Windsor Ridge.
Okay.
Behind Dairy Queen there.
Yeah.
So there will be some income restrictions, which is great. You know, so some people there'll be some help, some subsidy there, you know, to help people out, and hope. And that I believe will be. I know it's apartment style, and I think it's multiple floors. I want to say 3 or 4 floors. And I think on the main floor they'll have like a main lodge or kind of conference room area where
Community
people can
room or
community
something like-
room.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
exactly. So I don't know if there'll be. I can't remember if there'll be additional buildings around that or if they'll all be in that apartment style. And there may be even on the other one, the market rate ones. There may be some apartments in the middle with like townhouses around it. I can't recall exactly. I know each one of them, I seem like they were like 40 to 50 units or something like that. So again, 40 to 50 more units available, 40 to 50 senior units available. it's huge for us. I mean, those things are huge wins, and if it's easy to kind of forget where we were at
Right.
5, 10 years ago when I first started. And this has nothing to do with, I'm not saying me, but just that the time frame. So when I first started 10, 11 years ago, we would get one building permit a year. And that was the Habitat house that would go up, which was great.
Right.
I mean, we love that. It's a great thing. The school gets to work on those houses. That's a wonderful opportunity. We love working with them. And that was the only one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's crazy to think that way, but yet that's it. Last year we probably had close to 200.
Yeah.
With now Kading bumped that up with 150. But
Absolutely.
But still, you even take theirs away, and we're say we're at 20, 30, whatever that is. That's huge.
Local builders they're busy right now because, and I'll tell you for a fact, if you need something in my situation repaired, you got a waiting list now
Good
for
luck.
local builders.
Yeah.
That's a bad problem to have, is what it is, because when the local builders are going, that means everything's panning out. We got employment, we have a tax base being built. Real quick, and you mentioned a tax credit on that senior thing, and just to clarify, we got a couple minutes left here. These are still going to be property taxed locations. When we say tax credit, it does not last forever.
No, yeah, it's just to help the developer. It's no different than like a tax abatement,
Right.
or a TIF agreement or something like that. That developers are, all developers are looking to gain a little bit everywhere. They want to make as much money as they can. Understandable, and so it's from the state. It's a tax credit that they would get during building the
Right.
building. So it would just help cut their costs a little bit. So it's still going to be taxed, from the city's perspective, just like anything else would be.
Yeah, and that's going to help on the backside of this thing, and we'll get more into infrastructure talk next week with Heather, but the bottom line is the more new houses go up, the more property taxes collect, the more our population goes up with new housing, the more we fix things around Knoxville. And that's what you're seeing right now downtown. Is it a dragged out situation? Yeah, sometimes it is.
Yeah,
We're going to
yeah.
talk to Heather about that some more next week. Brian, thank you for coming in. We're going to start wrapping up the show right now. And I got to tell you folks right now that we want to do a special thank you again to Design Metal Art. In fact, we're doing something. We're going to obviously be on YouTube with this thing, but we're also going to share it on Facebook. And what we're going to do is, if you like and share us on Facebook on this program, we are going to give you a handy-dandy little 20-ounce tumbler. I got to learn how to position this camera right. And that's got the Try Knoxville logo. It's also got Design Metal Art logo on there. Again, like us, share us, and what we'll do is we'll put your name in a hat, and next week we'll give you a 20-ounce tumbler. One person gets a 20-ounce tumbler. You can't win them inside of 60 days. So if you win next week, you got to wait another 60 days to do that. If you want your own logo on there, just simply go out to Design and let them know. It'll be a blank copy of a 20-ounce tumbler, and you will pay for the logo itself. But if you want to just have a Try Knoxville one, hey, guess what? Totally free to you. Again, all you got to do is like or share that. Also, don't forget about our gun show coming up again, October the 11th, and we'll put the flyer up there one more time. But help these guys out. It's been a long time since we've seen any kind of gun show here in Knoxville. These guys are brand new to the gun show business as far as the promotion of it, but one of the partners is not brand new to guns. In fact, he used to be a sheriff of Decatur County a long time ago. So they know what they're doing. They're heavily involved, and we want to thank everybody for coming back. That is going to wrap it up for this edition of Try Knoxville. We look forward to seeing each and every one of you every week. And again, next week, City Manager Heather Essery will be on the show. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.